Hey everyone, this is Coach Mark here with
Coach Hines.
and we are on episode 24 for What It's Worth Coaching podcast. And tell you the truth, I feel a little out of place right now because we switched sides.
We did. It dawned on me, it took me 23 episodes,
Yeah.
that I am always looking to my right. So I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I was like, am I always sitting on the left-hand side? And you
Right.
said, pretty much I am.
So you just want to throw another curveball at me by putting me on the spot and putting me on the other. You know I'm a baseball player.
Yeah.
And I'm very superstitious.
So, which I'm not. I'm not
Yeah.
superstitious.
Well, you're a football
I'm
player.
a little stitious.
Yeah.
Stole it from The Office, Michael Scott. I'm not superstitious. I'm a little stitious.
Little sisters.
Well, you've always been my right-hand man.
Yeah. Well, I guess so.
Now you're my
No,
left-hand man.
it's weird.
Yeah. We digress, like right out of the gates.
Right out of the gates. But hey, today's episode is for you parents out there. So we want to discuss a little something so that you would understand what goes on behind the scenes with your players on the field, the choices that we make, and hopefully it sheds some light on what we, so you're not sitting in the stands wondering what the heck we're doing. There's a method to our madness half the time. And
Half the time.
Half the time. So, and sometimes it's off an emotion, sometimes it's off of discipline, sometimes it's off because we just want to do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just looks like it's going to be beneficial to the team.
Yeah, and it's funny because Coach Tighe had mentioned right before we started recording that this is for the parents, and then it dawned on me, and I really mean this. If you are a coach and you're watching this, send this to all of your parents,
Please.
because the more we as parents and coaches can work together, the greater success on and off the field your sons and daughters are going to have.
Definitely.
So if you're a coach listening to this, send this to every parent you have.
Definitely.
Please.
Please.
Yeah. Do you want me to get started?
Well, it's your topic.
Yeah, well, so I was thinking about it this morning. I've coached high school football. I get Mark and my wife Jill bust my chops about the fact. Apparently, I say in the 23 years I've coached often, but I'm going to say it again. In the 23 years I've coached, 11 of those have been as a head coach. 7 in New Hampshire, going on my 4th year here in Coronado, and both times I have interviewed to be a head coach, the administration in Bedford, New Hampshire, and Coronado, both in somewhere in the conversation said, "Hey, we just want to tell you about the parents." Mm-hmm. And it's intriguing because the message is always the same. It's just they're demanding, they expect a lot, they can be difficult to deal with sometimes, and I've been blessed to find that 99% of the parents I've had the experience to dealing with have been a blessing, have been a joy to have their sons and daughters in our program. But there are always going to be those few parents that, we joked around about it. In Bedford, New Hampshire, it's a very affluent community. Mm-hmm. Coronado, not that much different. Complete different coasts of our great country. But we would joke around and say we don't have helicopter parents. And every so often you'd hear a coach like, "You don't?" Like, no, we have Black Hawk parents. It's just more expensive helicopters. They can just afford bigger and better. I've heard the term lawnmower parents, snowplow parents, just kind of knocking over everything in their way. But this podcast is not to bash parents in any way, shape, or form. Matter of fact, it's really to praise parents for the blessing you are and how much we need you as coaches, not to win games, but we need you as coaches to help be that support for your sons and daughters. And I just, what are your experiences when you hear sport parents, Coach? What first comes to your mind?
Well, you got the parents that know it all. Yes.
No.
Yeah. No. They know all the kids. So just to bring up a story, I was brand new to this high school. I was the freshman coach, and so it was in a total different little league than. I think I've told this story before. Totally different little league than I grew up. I coached through Sweetwater Little League, and a lot of kids are coming through the Parkview Little League, and I don't know many of them, and I didn't coach much of the travel ball or anything like that because that was family time and my kids played other sports. So with that being said, I roll into this new school, so their feeder little league is Parkview and another little league, and so I'm learning these kids myself, and they're brand new kids, and all these kids can play ball, and it's a lot of fun, and I'm learning them. I'm learning how they play, learning where they go, what position they play, what part of the lineup they're in, what's their strength, what's their weaknesses, what are they gelling as a team, are they going to be able to go under, going to be able to play under the way I play or the way I coach. So it was a learning process for both the players, the coach, and the parents. And with that being said, the whole program got a new head coach. So we had a new varsity coach. So we had new coaches all the way down. Some stayed. So it was a transition period. And luckily for your transition period, you had a lot of coaches that were there, which was a blessing in disguise.
Yes.
You know, but this was like almost a full redo of all the coaches all the way down, varsity all the way to freshman, and it was their first legitimate year having a freshman team.
Oh.
So so all those got together. So we were losing, and but we weren't losing badly. You know, I saw a lot of fighting the kids, and I was just trying to play that little chess match, and one parent would come up and, you know, try to tell me what kids this is that, which is beneficial, but it's like, but that was Little League.
Yes.
This is high school now. Kids change a little bit. And I understand his frustration because he did coach all these kids. He knows them all and where they should be playing, where they should be batting the lineup, but I didn't see it that way. With that being said, I did take some advisement, some a little bit. It helped me out, and we turned it around. And I remember the one play that did turn it around. It was I brought a kid off the bench, and everybody's like, "Oh no!" And I just had a feeling it was just going to pop out, and luckily it did. We had bases loaded. We were down by one, and he hits this bomb triple to right center field, and scores all the kids. And then we ended up beating this school like 19-6.
You bully.
Yeah, well, it wasn't.
You bully.
But the thing is, with that, I know, right? You don't. So in baseball, you know how you just start running. In football, you just start running plays and just kind of run out the clock. Well, in baseball, we stopped stealing. We stopped taking the extra base.
Yeah.
But I never want to take the bat out of the kids' hands. You know what I mean?
Completely agree.
Yeah.
They work too hard in the off
Yes.
season.
Yeah.
They dedicate too much time. The parents dedicate too much time feeding them and bringing them
Right.
to practice
Yes.
to ask them not to play.
Yeah, exactly. And especially those kids you're getting on and off the bench more.
Yep.
You don't want to take the bat out of their hands. Hey, we're up 15 runs. Just swing and miss.
No, never.
No, just
that's
like,
un-American.
It is.
It really is.
No, it is.
It's un-American.
You swing and you hit the ball and you run to first base.
And it goes the whole,
Yeah.
everyone gets a trophy or,
Right.
it's not your job to keep the score down. And
Right.
really, we're not talking about running up. We will pull back the reins a little bit, but
Yeah.
you want your young men, young women to play their heart out.
Right.
Every single snap or down.
Exactly.
Pitch.
Yeah. So with that being said, we went on to a little different story, but in the long run, we ended up winning throughout. We played in the championship game. It was probably one of the best games. We lost, but it's probably one of the best games I've ever been a part of. And even today, a lot of the parents were like, "That was the most fun game we've ever had."
Yes.
But once we started clicking and everything started going, the parents started seeing what we were doing too. So we stopped getting the chirps and the naysayers, and they started seeing what we were doing to mold these kids.
Or the chirps were just quieter.
They were quieter, and they didn't come to me because we were winning.
Yep.
And winning cures everything, but
Cures a lot of things.
but the patience, and parents need to learn the patience of the process, especially because it's a totally different. It's totally different playing Little League, travel ball, and then going into high school. High school, you play a long season and mini games throughout the week. You don't go and play a tournament on the weekend and then you're done for the week and you just do a little practice here.
Right.
This is a constant grind, like Major League Baseball. It's not exactly like we're playing every day, but you're playing 3 to 5 games a week.
It's a lot.
And it can be, especially if you're in a tournament. And you got to trust the process because it's totally different. One of the things we always get is sore arms because you're using them more.
Yep.
During the season. So the parents got to understand. Hey, there's a method to a master. You're not at practice every day. You don't really see what your kid's performing at practice because that's where you want to see.
Yes.
Is your kid going to perform during the game? And then you might see something different, change everything up. So.
Yep. Love it. I've often been asked, how do you get parents off your back? How do you get them on your side? Mm-hmm. And my answer is always the same: love their kids.
Yeah, that's it.
Love selflessly, with no agenda. Love their sons and daughters, and there's always going to be that parent. There's always going to be, I believe it truly it's less than 5% of parents every year, if that will hate you because their son's not the starting pitcher or the starting quarterback or whatever it may be, who think you're the worst coach in the history of the world, and you can't coach to them You can't try to tailor to them. You just need to selflessly love and serve their kids.
Right.
And the players will see that. The great majority of parents will see that. The administration will see that. And ultimately, I think you do no wrong in that. You'll still lose games. But you're never going to please everyone. You know,
Right.
I think we've talked about this before. You know, there's that quote that says, "If you want to please everyone, sell ice cream."
Right.
Yeah, I laugh at that because I think that used to be true. Now you're going to have someone who is vegan or lactose intolerant who's going to be upset. You know, so you're never going to please everyone.
Oh, the prices went up.
Yes, there's always going to be a reason for someone to complain. How would you deal with a parent that is reaching out to you about playing time? My least favorite conversation, by the way, with parents.
Yeah, and I think we've touched on this before. You know, I think first and foremost, you let them know, hey, has your son or daughter come to us about playing time first?
Which should be rule number one. Come
Rule
to
number
the
one.
coach.
Yes, and you have that sit down with the player and let him or her know, you know, why they're not getting as much playing time as they think they should. And but as a coach too, you really got to tell them, you got to coach them. Let them know, hey, this is what you need to work on. This is what you need to do, and you need to show me during practice.
Yes.
It's not going to be in the game because the games are a lot different than just the practice. I'll give you the opportunity during practice, but that's when your time to shine.
Yeah.
You know, and then also, you know, a lot of times too, the parents got to understand you're not going to like everything that comes out of the coach's mouth because we got to be honest, and sometimes truth hurts.
Yes.
And being truthful with the player. And then also having those uncomfortable conversations with your player, with your child, knowing that, okay, this is what coach told me what to do. I'm going to give it a shot, have the patience, see if it happens, if it materializes, and then maybe talk to him.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. And it's going to be a tough conversation.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they didn't progress as we wanted to, you know.
And I'm a firm believer that that's what players don't want a coach that's going to be buddy with them all the time. They have their friends for that.
Right.
And I know I
Definitely.
failed certain players, especially my younger years coaching, because I tried to be too much of a friend. And both Coach Tighe and I, we pride ourselves in the fact that we love our players. We pour our heart out to them. We love the fact that we can have relationships with them many years after they're graduated. And they reach out to us, whether it's a letter or a text or a phone call, telling us about what's going on in their lives, good or bad.
I think with you too is like, I think our kids are here, and then our players are like right there, just that close.
Well, because I have a biased opinion, but you and I do it right, where it's not just about baseball for us. It's not just about football.
Right.
It's a platform to change lives. So we do talk to them about struggles at home, their homes. We don't share our own struggles with them, but sometimes we do. We're transparent.
Yes.
We'll have very open conversations because wrongfully so, but sometimes players put coaches on a pedestal and think, oh, they have it all figured out. None of us do. We all have challenges. We all have struggles. But I've always felt that coaches who do it right love their players enough to accept them or meet them where they are, but they love them enough to not let them stay where they are. And that requires, as you said, the hard conversations.
Yes.
What would you say a parent's role is in the development of their child athletically, or do you want me to go first on that? Or
Well, personally, I think it's 100% support at home. And, you know, like I think we talked about it last week in our podcast about being a problem identifier.
Yes.
Part of that is being, you know, understanding there is a problem and being that support group for your kid.
Yeah.
You know, don't bring the negativity at home all the time, because that negativity is going to grow into your child and they're going to bring it right back to the team, and then negativity spreads like wildfire,
Yes,
and
it
then
does.
it ruins the whole. And it really, a lot of for the kids that are in sports, especially high school and maybe, you know, travel ball here and there, they enjoy the sport, but they enjoy the experience of being part of a team.
Something greater than themselves.
Exactly. And being that sort of, you look at that story, you know, Rudy, you know, one of the best football movies ever out there.
True.
And, you know, he just wanted to be part of the team. And, you know, there are kids like that.
Yep.
And, you know, I think being a parent, and it's tough being a parent with kids that understand that the kid just wants to be part of that, but be positive at home, show them support at home.
You know, it's funny, just yesterday, and obviously I won't say the young man's name, just yesterday we had practice, and one of the young men said to me, and he didn't even have to have a conversation privately, he said in front of his players, or his teammates, he said, Coach, I just found out that I got diagnosed with multiple personalities, and I stopped him. I almost said his name. I said, I love you. Come here, let's talk over here for a second. Because, I mean, right away I was awestruck that he was going to share that.
Right.
It was a very serious conversation. And I let him know that, I love and appreciate his bravery in sharing that, his openness and willingness. And then reassured him, I said, so-and-so, don't want to say his name, if you can never play football, because he said he still can, doctor said he could, I said, you'll always be part of this program. Mm-hmm. And he smiled ear to ear and said, well, no, I want to be a manager, I want to help out in some way. But yeah, to that point of Rudy or whatever,
right.
Some kids just want to be a part of something greater than themselves.
Definitely.
Some kids want to start for the JV team or varsity team or get a few reps. Some kids want to make it a career,
right?
Collegiate and beyond.
I think that's a message not just for parents. I think it's a message definitely for coaches that you got to understand that kids want to be part of it and don't exclude them.
Yes.
Because I know there's coaches out there, and I've seen it, that they exclude those kids who just want to be part of the program. You can hit them a couple extra ground balls during practice, or get them into there and just have them hit it. Get a couple extra hits. And coaches understand that there are kids that want to be out there, just love the experience, and want to be part of the team, and they're just as beneficial to the team as your number one player on the team.
Amen.
And then also the players too understand that hey, they're there to be with your friend there and hang out and have a good time and help you get better.
And sometimes it's that third or fourth string teammate that never misses a practice, always gives 100% effort, who will never be nearly as good as another player. And parents in the stands might be mad at us for pulling their son or daughter out, not understanding at a certain point in the game, whether we're winning by a lot or losing, we're putting another individual in because that's what they need in their lives, and it's more than just a scoreboard for us. Yeah. Yes. I feel for parents, I think one of the best things parents can do is be your child's greatest cheerleader. Be their best supporter. And if you want to help your child get more playing time, teach them, or help us teach them about commitment, about showing up on time, about fighting through adversity, about being student athletes. It scares me sometimes how many parents with the best of intentions will pour thousands of dollars into private lessons or private strength training or speed training or batting or whatever it is, but won't spend the same time on a tutor or the same money on a tutor. And that's not a knock on parents once again. But man, if you want to teach your child, your son or daughter, and help them to really be the best they can be for the game of baseball, football, and beyond, for the game of life, teach them priorities. What comes first? Before you pour money into a personal trainer, think about where their grades are. Think about what their time spent on technology is, and time spent studying their plays or studying their schoolwork. Help them. I talked to Coach earlier before we recorded this. I had the unique opportunity. Many coaches have a chance to coach their sons or daughters. I had to coach against my son his junior and senior year. It was his homecoming game both years. One of the greatest and hardest things I ever had to do as a coach. But often my son Brockton, who's now 23 years of age, would ask me after a game when I went to go see one of his games. And we were so blessed because we had lights at Bedford. Goffstown still doesn't. So most of their home games were on Saturdays. So I only missed one of his varsity games. One of his football games in 4 years.
Oh, that's good.
His freshman played on a different day of the week, and I could leave practice early, and such a blessing. But he would ask me how did I do, Dad? And I would always have to preface it and ask him, do you want me to answer as a coach or as a father? Because the answers sometimes were very different.
Right.
As a father, I'm proud of you. You showed up, you worked hard, good job. As a coach, sometimes outstanding, and sometimes it was, hey, a little slow off the ball, or watch your first step, and sometimes the players, your sons and daughters, don't want or need you to coach them up. They get that enough from us. They want you to just love them up and be that best friend, the parent, the cheerleader for them. Let us get on them for the drop balls or the missed catches or whatever it is.
Yeah. What's a doodad?
Doodad. I did say that, didn't I?
Yeah.
I did. Well, hey, on that note, I think parents can be the greatest asset, the greatest, greater than teachers, greater than coaches, if you support your sons and daughters in what their goals are. We had our chances as coaches and parents. We had our opportunities to play the games we love. Now it's your sons and daughters' time. So support them in what their goals are. And if you don't know your role and what you should do, reach out to that coach and say, hey, how can I help you to best help my son or daughter?
Right, definitely. And baseball, football, and all the high school sports out there, it's a great sense of community and being part of that community. And actually, coaches do need your help. Not only with your student athlete, but also we need help with fundraising, snack bar, stuff like that.
Great.
It's a great opportunity to show your kids, hey, you may not have enough playing time, or you might be that starter or that big time player, because those parents, you're not bigger than the game either, and you can help out too.
Amen.
And I've seen that many times too. But really, it's a community, and the experience that we can have all together is such an awesome opportunity to show your kids that, hey, there's something bigger than ball. There's something bigger than us personally, bigger than the coach, bigger than the school. It's the community that we are here together.
Fantastic. Mm-hmm. So we want to give a shout out once again as we wrap this up. Well done. You want to go first with?
Sure. If you guys like coffee as much as I do, I drink Muertos coffee. You can find them at muertoscoffeecompany.com. You can put in my code at SDFD25 for a 15% discount. And what's cool about this coffee company is that they give back to the community. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so they're going to give. They partnered up with a cancer association where 5% of your purchase will go to them, and also different fire associations throughout your community. So give them a shot. Give them a look at muertoscoffeeco.com and use code SDFD25.
Fantastic. And GameStrat Instant Replay, we've been using them for a few years now at Coronado. Sideline end zone cameras where seconds after a play in real time, we can show our players, we can show our coaches what we did correctly, what we need to work on. Not only is GameStrat an amazing, reliable, easy to use product, it is run by such an amazing group of individuals who truly put their customers first. So check them out, GameStrat. You won't be disappointed. And as always, we're just sharing our passions, so take it for what it's worth.
Stay strong.